Also, this is Baruch here, back at the Tikkun Elevator Kolo, back from Rosh Chodesh davening, and we're going to finish off this morning Zohar for this fifth day of the Parshas Toldos, day of Hod. We're going to finish it off here with words of the Matuk Midrash. Try to understand this Zohar, where Rabbi Yehuda is now met with his son, with Rabbi Yitzhak, and they were going over this pasuk. Let me see if I can find this pasuk. So he said, it says like this pasuk right here said in the previous page, Ad Karv above Shema lay the Rebbe Yitzchak the Hava Omer, we said like that, He Achrei Mos Avraham, after Avraham died, Bivarach Elokim is Yitzchak Beno and Hashem, that is Elokim, this is Lashon Din. Din always goes with Yitzchak, but he blessed, that Din blessed Yitzchak. V'yeshev Yitzchak im ber l'chai roi. And where was Yitzchak? Yitzchak was at this place called the Bear Lachai Roi. Now let's come back here, and this is what he heard as he stood outside the door. That is Rabbi Yehuda and his son. That they heard, they heard these words. So now we're going to read the Matik Midrash. We're going to pick up a little bit of sod here, try to learn Shtekol Torah. Is Rabbi Yehuda Bedelis. So in between that is after he was listening, then he knocked on the door. But Niknas this Chadra Yachad, and they made a union together. That is Rabbi Yitzchak and Rabbi Yehuda. So he said the phrase was Omer Rabbi Yitzchak Hashta Zivugu Shchinte B'Chadam. There's going to be a yichud now that the two of us come together. That we are two people now, not just one. The Shechina should join with it. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yitzchak, he said like this. So you were talking about the Be'er L'chai Roi, the fact that Abraham Avinu did not bless Yitzchak, but rather Hashem blessed Yitzchak. But actually, there's a pshat there. You could just really understand it the way that it is. Ki bear, he saw the malchus. So every time you see the word bear, you're talking about the secret of malchus. So when it says l'chai, for life, who yisod the nikra chayol amin, because yisod is the fountain of life. Roi, so he says roi. After the Habin Kach, so you could really Roi period rose the word Roi, which was the Bear Lachai Roi, Shal Malchus Roa, and this is what he wants to say. Mavates and looks at, she sees and she looks at Ela Yisod. She craves the Yisod, the Hamshech, in order to bring Shefa down into her, the Lakaba B'manda Barchosav, and be able to receive the brachos that are contained within the Yisod. And all of this is really talking about the concept of yichud, that yichud is necessary in order for bracha to take place. Pasuk, let's see, Pasuk Ba'ama. Rabbi Yehuda the Farish Masha Kosov, so now he wants to go over this Pasuk. Mayim Ganim, Bear Mayim, so you have a Mayim is a spring. The spring for the garden. Bear Mayim Chayim, it is a well. Once again, that word again, which he said previously, the word bear refers to Malchus, that contains living waters. The noislim min the lavonim, and this all flows from the lavonim. Now, before, in my explanation, I said that the lavonim usually means the white place. The white place is Erikanpin, the place of absolute purity. But let's see what the Matuk says. Pirush Pasuk, Ma'ayan Hanimshak lahashkos as a gonim, the water that streams in order to be able to water the garden. Who bear mayim chayim, and it is a well of living water. Now, what is this living waters that he's talking about? Hanos v'makam naki ve'ein nikiras tit. It comes from a place which was completely pure, which is said the lashon Lebanon or Lebanon is the lashon lava, place which is naki. It comes from a place which has no murkiness to it because it's mixed with clay. So he said, so This particular pasuk had been worked over previously in different places. Now the Zohar wants to go this way. Kavar b'yibir rosod pasuk zeh. He says what? Ki ma'ayin ganim da Avraham, because we had this explanation that the ma'ayin ganim, that is the original water, is coming from the side of Chesed. Then it says bear ma'im chayim da Yitzchak. So it's a bear, but it's a bear that is able to stream, and streaming is lashon gevura because it's limiting as it's going down. Da Yitzchak. The nozlim min Levanim, and it comes from Levanim. What's the concept of Levanim? Da Yaakov. Yaakov, which is the choice between Esav and Yaakov. Yaakov is 100% pure. But now what I want to get to is really what we say like this, where it said Ber Mayim Chaim Da Yitzchak. Now let's look at it again. When we said the Mayim Chaim refers to Yitzchak, that's the streaming water. He said that's Yitzchak. That's the pasuk said V'yeshev Yitzchak im Ber l'chai roi. So he said he lived. Where did he live? He lived with the bear, the spring, that is the vision of life, l'chai roi, that the life source that can be seen. I was trying to say, well, what darshan is? I'm trying to understand this. The shoel al ezer sefiru romezes. Now, what exactly are we talking about? This bear l'chai roi. So he said, "V'amadah shchinta." He had malchus. We're talking the malchus. So he says, "L'chai da chai olamim." So she wants, that is, to see the chai olamim, which is who you saw. Hanikra tzaddik chai olamim, who is called the tzaddik of the living, of eternal life. Ki hu chai bebeis olamim kedlolam. So we said the whole olamim is really plural. And it really refers to, as we are going to say, two different worlds. He said, "V'aser lahafrid es malchus min yisod." So what we're talking about here is the combination of putting the Shekhinah together with the yisod. Yisod hu chai bebeis alamin. So let's understand what yisod is. Yisod has, so to speak, 1 foot inside of malchus. Or let's say his head is inside, or his end is inside of Malchus. The Yesod of the Yesod is in Malchus. But on the other hand, Malchus is Yesod is connected to Zer Anpin above him. Zer Anpin is connected to the entire, all of the spheres. On the Farish, so he says, now let's look at it more. He says, Chai lo ela di'ihu al me'ilo. Chai hu l'malacha bebina. So when we come to the concept of life, it's in the parts of called Bina, Shehi Olam Elyon, which would be the upper world, because Zer Anpin is connected to Bina. So he said on the top, it's like the bulb that's in between the two caves. Because from there, Shefa and Chiyus, that's where it streams from. So he said, and so we would say, obviously, it's alive if you look at it in terms of the lower world, Shuha Malchus, which is Malchus. Shuhu Mashpia Shefa V'Hachius, because what does the Yisod do? The Yisod, let me see if we got this right, Shuhu Mashpia Shefa V'Hachius, Shehim Shefa Mechabina, the Malchus, that Bina, that is that Zer Anpin, or the Yisod itself, which is the lower part of the Pharos, or Zer Anpin, is actually responsible for bringing this chiyus shehim shekbal bina the malchus. Before sheyesh beis bechina shefa. Now he says there are two different kinds of shefa. Shecha yisod mashpil the malchus, that is yisod, that is sends the malchus, which is what? Shefa echod who shefa tediri. That's a shefa that never stopped, because if it did, life would stop. Asher olam datachton. That's how she's able to shine. That's how she's able to be alive. It's a new kind of shefa. This is the renewal idea of the moon. That the moon, which is the Shekhinah, is constantly changing. It depending on its relationship to the sun, which is a light. and it keeps changing, as we say, from one time to the next. Then the phrase where they used here, let me just read this here in the Zohar. Talchazi. He says, come in here. This is where I want you to understand. Siro lo is nehira elakad chazi shimsha. The only time that this moon really shines is when she's being able to look at him, to look at the sun. Because the sun, in other words, she faces the sun, so that the sun now shines on her, and she becomes a reflection of the sun. Now, if you listen to Kabbalah, you know something about Kabbalah. This is all about his matas of the light. That is, that the light contained within Zer Anpin is a very, very powerful light. It shines onto the face of Malchus, which is the moon. The moon already is dealing with borrowed light. That is a light that shines to us. So this is much more, again, the concept of the hismatas, of the limitation down of light. Bavare, come and see, he says, like, the moon does not shine, nor does it become a new moon, only when it sees the sun. In other words, right now, today is the beginning of Rosh Chodesh. And now we're seeing that the moon itself is very, very slightly turned towards the sun. And as it is doing that, it is renewing itself. So Malchus also does not bring out new light. Only when it looks at the Yesod. The Yesod is the font from which the light of the sun pours into Malchus. Because then you start to get new Shefa. The Indian Re'iyah Zu he hachnasa his kashtusa klape bala v'kabel Shefa. So he said the translation is, this is how she prepares herself. This concept of her looking, this Re'iyah, that she's looking at the at the sun, and adorning herself with its rays. Kalape Bailo, that is in the direction of her husband, who is Zer Anpin, the Kabul Shefa from this Yisod. So she needs to see the Yisod. So once she sees the Yisod, then she shines. But so to Lomar. So now the Matuk is going to come and wind this up. Me'olam lo choyach shal malchus hu chana v'kishtach atzman l'kabel below yishpir b'yisod. Let me translate this again. Me'olam, never. Lo choyach shal malchus. There's never a situation shal malchus hu chana that she prepared herself. V'kishta, and adorned herself atzman. L'kabel below yishpir b'yisod. If she, in other words, if malchus wants to attract the yisod, very easy for her. Just like if the woman really wants the guy, she can get him. Depends on whether she really wants him, because then she makes herself prepared, that she makes herself look beautiful. And this is the same concept that we have in the ultimate union between Zer Anpin of Itzilus and the Malchus of Itzilus. Ra'aya the Davar, so the proof for this, shall call Talwa B'ri also, that everything is the Bear L'chai Roi. Everything depends on her ability to look. Ki he nikras bear, she is called the bear. Asher roa, that sees, mistakelas, and looks at. El hayisod the nikra chai, she's looking for Yisod. She wants the connection, and who is called chai. Vayideza mekabel ki yusa v'shufa v'shefa v'menach, and in this way she gets her life force. She gets the shefa that comes from it. And then she's standing, shining, with the concept of Mayim Chayim, Shem Ki Yusa, Asher Yisod Mamshech Allah Mechabina. So this is the life force. Remember Zer Anpin, if you looked at the Yud-K, Vav-K, one on top of the next, then you would see that the Yud is going inside of the first Hey. The first Hey is going inside of the Vav, and then the Vav, which is what we're talking about here, at the end of the Vav is the Yisod, and everything that came from up above is going down through that Yisod into the Nukva. So he said, Pirush, Chai, Kadesh tismale v'toyer mizeh yisod, that you should be filled, sated, filled up, and light, shine up from all that light that comes from the Yisod. That's the shir today. This is Baruch Fleischman. That's the second shir on morning Zohar, 5th day of the month of, the Parsha Toldos, where the beginning Rosh Chodesh of the month of Kislev.